Welcome back to Namaste Node.js Season 3, and we are here to learn a lot of more cool concepts. Now, we have already seen that how we have developed DevTinder application. We have built two microservices. The first one is front-end microservice. The second is the back-end microservice. Now, we will see in this video how we can deploy these applications onto a server and make our applications live for everybody to access on the internet. We were only working on localhost till now, but now we are going to actually deploy our application onto an actual server. So let's just get started. So we have this DevTinder web, which is the front-end microservice. We also have this DevTinder, which is the backend microservice. And now we have already pushed our code to GitHub. So now I have my front end as well as backend repositories on GitHub. What we have to do is now we will create a server and then we will deploy our application onto that so that we can access it from all across the internet. Okay. And for that, we are going to use AWS. Have you heard about AWS? If not, I will tell you and give you a brief idea about AWS, but we will be using AWS to create our own server, create our own instance, create our own machine, and we will deploy our code onto that machine. Okay, so I will explain you how to do that, but before that, let me just introduce you to our superhero AWS. Okay, if you'll go to the AWS website, you will go over here. This is the AWS Management Console. So see, AWS is a cloud service. When I say cloud service, see, let me tell you in a very basic example for students, right? For a lot of new software developers who don't know much about cloud and software engineer and machine and instances and all. So see, think of it as right now, what we were doing was on our laptop, on our desktop, on our machines, we were accessing this code, right? We were making this code, we were writing this code, we have this repository on our local system, right? And we were running this code on our local system. Similarly, and everything was being run on what? Localhost, isn't it? Right? In the browser, we were writing localhost, and then there was a port where our front end and back end applications were there. Now, what we want is we want to deploy our application onto some other machine, right? That machine is given to us by AWS. And that machine is a centralized place where our application is deployed. And we can access that application from across the internet, right? From all over the world. That machine is connected to internet. Right? So that machine we will take from AWS, Amazon Web Services. It's a very famous, place, right? It's a very famous service that a lot of companies use, and even at Namaste Dev, even in our own startup, we use AWS to deploy our applications. Okay, now you can also choose Google Cloud Services. You can choose a lot of other ways, and let me also give you a brief idea about deployments. There are so many ways you can deploy your application onto the internet. But I am choosing to deploy on AWS because it is the industry standard kind of a thing, right? A lot of companies deploy their product and services on AWS cloud, right? On AWS machines. You can also choose Google Cloud if you want to, right? The process would be very similar to this. And there are a lot of tools and startups which offers you one-click deployment, right? Basically, you just give them GitHub URLs and then they deploy your application in very easy steps. But I am not going to take the easy route. I am going to tell you the traditional and the most authentic way of deploying the application, which is everything doing manually. Right now there are so many startups which are working on making your deployment process easy. They just give you one-click deployments. You just have to give them URL and everything is deployed like automatically. But I want all the students of Namaste Node.js to be very good in their core knowledge, right? So to get that core knowledge, you should know how to deploy your app manually onto a server. Okay, that is what we are going to learn in this, whole episode. And hope you are excited as I am, because I am going to teach you very crucial concepts, right? Now, one thing before I start teaching you is that this, deployment process can be very tedious And it can be very frustrating also, because there can be many challenges while you are deploying your application onto production. But wait a minute, let me tell you, whatever I am doing, please check that steps carefully, because there are a lot of steps involved into deploying our front end as well as back end service, right? So there are a lot of steps. Remember and see how I deploy the application step by step. Note down those steps. What I am doing in those steps, you have to do the same thing. Suppose if something is working on my system and it is not working on your system, then try to debug and try to find answers through ChatGPT or search on the internet, but try to find answers, right? But don't give up, because I have seen, I have taught this to a lot of students already, right, in my previous classes, and a lot of students face issues and they give up. You don't have to give up. You have to watch these steps carefully and do it one by one. I will also tell you all the places where you can go wrong. You have to avoid those mistakes, because if you make a very small mistake, you will not be able to deploy our application, right? It's very confusing also. Okay, so let's just get started. First of all, you'll have to create your AWS account, right? You might not have an AWS account. If you already have an AWS account, you just log in. Right now, let me just teach you how to create a AWS account also. Let me just show it to you to give you the full perspective. Otherwise, I already have a AWS account. I can just log in quickly, but I am just showing you that you can just sign up. So just complete sign up. You click on complete sign up, go sign up onto AWS, make your own account, right? Okay, I think this is sign in, right? So if you go over here, this is sign in. New to AWS, sign up. Okay, let's go create a new account. Sign up. It is asking me for an email ID. Let me give my email ID. Okay, let me just give my email ID over here, and then I can give it a account name also, right? So suppose let's give this account name of DevTender. Okay, but you can give whatever name you want to. It is not specific to your project or something, right? Or let me give it Namaste Dev. Why not, right? Namaste Dev. Okay, and we can do verify email address. Now, okay, it asked me for a security verification. Let me just do it. See, this process can be different for you because AWS changes this process, right? AWS also keeps updating their website. So what I'm seeing right now, what you are seeing right now on the screen might not be the same for you, but you have to basically sign up onto AWS, right? This is what you have to do, right? Let me just verify my email quickly. Okay, let me just verify my email quickly. The verification code is 649881. Okay, so the verification code over here is 649881. If I click on verify, cool. So it just created, it just verified basically the OTP. Now I have to create a password. Okay, so let me just create a password. Okay, so suggest a strong password. Let me ask Chrome to set up the password. Continue. Step 1 of 5. Okay, how do you plan to use AWS? It's ask whether you want to do it for business or you want to do it for personal. So select your own. Let me just create personal for now, right? You can also create business over here, or let me just select business, right? Why not? No thanks. Billing country is India. Now see, it asks you for a credit card or a debit card number. Okay, so now earlier you can, I remember a time when AWS did not ask you for a credit card or a debit card over here while the sign up process, but now they have started asking, right? So let me just give them my credit card number. Just fill all these information because now credit card is mandatory. I don't think that, there is an option to skip. I don't see any option to skip over here. I am actually signing up, and then it asks you for a card holder's name, right? Let me just give card holder's name. It is my card. That's it, right? And you can use do you have a PAN number? Yes, I do have a PAN number. Let me give my PAN number. And let me also tell you, don't hesitate to give your credit card, debit card information, because it does not automatically charges your credit card. Okay, so there is an option you can turn on, turn off the billing. You can go inside and you can turn off the billing, right? It does not like automatically deduct some money from your credit card. It does not do that. Okay. Earlier, it used to be very easy to create an AWS account, but now they ask you for your email verification, mobile phone verification. So I have done everything, and now why we have reached at to the final step now. Okay, so I'm just selecting the basic support free version, complete sign up. Once I complete sign up, I should land onto the AWS console. Okay, so this is my AWS console, and I can just sign in to the AWS console. Okay, so you can pause the video over here, right? Pause the video over here and create your AWS account. You should reach this page, AWS console, right? And then we will now see, once you have signed up on AWS, now we will see how you can create a new instance. You can take a machine and then we will deploy our code onto that machine. Okay, so finish till here and then continue watching the video. Welcome back, my dear friends. Now, hope you are logged in to your AWS console. Now let us just start an instance, or let's just create a new machine. Let us take a new machine from AWS. Okay, so how do you do that? You can on the top search for EC2. Okay, so EC2, it says virtual servers in the cloud. Okay, so EC2 instance, right? Let me just tell you, it's a lingo in AWS. EC2 instance. So when I say EC2 instance, that means elastic compute. Okay, so you are basically taking a machine from AWS, so you have to go to this EC2. Okay, so you can search on the top and go over here, or you can just click on the dashboard. It will just take you to the EC2 page. Now it just says that, okay, right now you have 0 instances running. Okay, so you have 0 instances running. So over here we have to launch a new instance. Okay, so let's just create a new instance. If I click on launch a new instance, this is how I am creating a new server, right? So just read over here. Amazon EC2 allows you to create virtual machines. So you are creating a new virtual machine, which is known as an instance. Okay, that run on AWS cloud, that runs remotely, right? It is connected to the internet. It's on the cloud. Now let us give our web server a name. We can give it any name you want, right? I can give it my web server or something, but let me just give it, okay, DevTinder, because this is for DevTinder project. So let me just give it a DevTinder name. You can give whatever you wish to. Now, Amazon asks you, when you are taking a machine, when you are taking a computer, when you are taking a virtual machine instance from Amazon, it asks you which operating system do you want to run on that system, right? So you can select from multiple over here, right? You can select Amazon Linux, you can select Mac OS, you can select Ubuntu, you can select Windows, you can select Red Hat, and a lot of other operating system options. What I am going to select is Ubuntu, because Ubuntu is a very good Linux system and it works well, and most of the companies just deploy their code on Ubuntu, but you can choose whatever you wish to. I am just choosing Ubuntu Linux. That works really great, right? So I'm just choosing Ubuntu over here. And then if you go down, right, so it will also ask you for instance type. So right now our machine that AWS is giving us for free, right, free, is T2 micro. Okay, so there are different types of machine you can take, right? So if you just go down, you can just see there is one machine T2 nano, T2 micro, T2 small, T2 medium, T2 large, extra large, 2XL, and there are a lot of other types of machine. Okay, so you don't have to worry about the machine because we are on the free tier. We want to deploy our application for free. So what we want is, we will just choose T2 micro, right? Or it is automatically selected over here. It is available for free to use. Okay, and this is a very sufficient machine. It can handle basic level of traffic also, so you don't have to worry about upgrading to a bigger machine unless you are running a very full-fledged startup. Okay, so for few users you can just use a free machine, right? And you can also see it gives you 1 GB of memory, and it gives you, right, you can just you can just read about the costing and all these things which it gives you, right? So you can just do that. Then it asks you to create a security group. Yes, you can create a security group. Keep all these options as it is, right? You can keep all these options as it is. and then you can just launch the instance. Okay, I think you can launch the instance, or okay, yes. So this is a very important thing. This is what I was finding for key pair login. Now when you will take that machine, you will need a way to access that machine, and that can be done through secret keys. Okay, public and private key. So how we will do that, how we will set it up, it is over here. So over here, when it says key pair login, here you have to create a new key pair, right? Click on create a new key pair, and it asks you for a key pair name. Okay, so I can say dev tinder secret. Okay, so it's a secret PEM file which is being generated, right? Just select RSA over here. RSA is a encryption algorithm, right? So I want to select RSA, and it will generate me a PEM file. Okay, it will generate me a PEM file. Create a key file pair. So see, it downloaded a PEM file for me. Okay, so now a PEM file has been downloaded and it is there on my downloads folder. Okay, so you don't have to worry about that. So dev tinder secret has been generated. Now we have got a PEM file. Now understand that PEM file is like a key to access your server. Okay, so suppose if you are creating a server, it gives you a PEM file, and that PEM file is a key. It's a secret key so that you can access that server. So now let me just quickly recap. I have given the name, I have selected the operating system, I have created a key, right? Here key pair login, I have created a key with the name dev tinder secret, and then I have just selected the default options over here. I don't want to modify anything. If you want, you can just read about everything, right? It will give you a new, basically you are just configuring your machine. So just like you go and buy your laptop, you select what type of operating system you need, what type of RAM do you need, what type of space do you need. All these things have been selected over here, and now I will just click on launch instance, and this will launch my new instance. Okay, so basically, see, if you will now go a new instance, a new server has been created for us. Okay, the instance state is pending. It will take some time to create that instance. Let me just refresh the page. You will see the status over here. See, the instance state is pending over here, right? It is pending, and after some time it just goes to live, right? See, now it says running. Okay, so now the instance is running, and then the status is initializing. So wait till the status is completed over here. It is right now initializing. So a new machine is being initialized, right? So if I refresh, it is initializing. We will have to wait till it successfully initializes and our machine is properly set up. Then we will try to log in into our system. Then we will try to log in into this machine, and I will show you how you can do that using an SSH command, okay, from your terminal. Okay, so we will do that. We are waiting for this to get initialized. Okay, let me just refresh it. Okay, right now it is just taking some time to initialize. It takes some time to wrap up the machine, because now what AWS is doing behind the scenes is it is creating a new machine for you on the cloud, right? It is creating a new space for you. It is deploying the operating system on it, and then it will give you the access with that PEM key that you have recently downloaded. Okay, so wait for it. So now we can see that, okay, we have status check 2 of 2 passed, and our instance state is running. Okay, so now our machine is up and running, right? And now if you click on this instance ID, it will show you the information of your machine. Okay, so this is the public IP of your machine. This is the private IP address of your machine, right? And all these things are there. Here you can manage a lot of things. You can just manage status and alarm, security, networking, storage. So many things are there. Okay, so you can just use this machine. Now once we have got our public IP, okay, so let's just go over here and click on connect. Okay, so it will give you ways to connect. Okay, you can connect to your instance. So there are different ways you can connect to your instance. Okay, so we will go to SSH because I want to log in through my terminal. Okay, so SSH. Now what we have to do is you have to follow these steps. Let me just tell you how to follow these steps. Basically, see, first of all, it is asking you to change the permission of your dev Tinder secret file. Okay, you have to do a chmod. Basically, it changes the permission of your secret file. So let's go to terminal and I'll show you what to do. If you go to iTerm2, let me just open this terminal. Okay, so now we have got our terminal ready. Cool. So here is my terminal. Now in this terminal, hope you are able to see it. Okay, let me just increase the font size. Cool. So now in my terminal, what we will do is I will have to locate the folder. So it is there on my downloads folder. Okay, the key is there in my downloads folder. Over here, I have my dev Tinder secret key. Now I will have to do chmod 400. So it is basically changing the permissions of this file, dev Tinder secret.pem. Okay, this is our key, and our, we have changed the permission of our secret file. If you don't change the permission, your login won't work. You won't be able to connect to your machine. Okay, so remember that you have to change the permission for sure, right? Maybe let me just keep taking down notes also, right? Otherwise you will forget. Okay, so let me take the notes in maybe readme file, right? This is the front end project, right? Readme file. Let me just take the notes also, so that deployment. Okay, this deployment is a heading. Okay, so now deployment. Now for the first thing, sign up on AWS. This is what we did. I am just writing these notes so that you are able to, you will be able to do it yourself step by step. Sign up on AWS, create a new account. Then you have to launch instance, right? You have to successfully launch an instance. You know how to do that. And then you have to basically, create a key value pair. Now you have to modify permissions, right? Basically, let me write like this, chmod. Let me just write the command only, chmod, and then you have to do 400 and then your secret key, right? Secret.pem. Okay. So this pem is a extension which stores your secret key. Okay. Cool. So now what we will do is, now once we have done this, it gives you a command over here already, SSH command, right? SSH command. And let me just explain you what this command is doing. Okay, so this command SSH basically is trying to, and once you run this command, you have to be in that folder. Okay, you have to be in the downloads folder at the same place where your key is present. Okay, so you have to do SSH-I. So basically you are trying to do SSH, or you are trying to connect to your machine using this command SSH-I, and then you are using this key, your PEM file, and which machine are you connecting to? This is the address, or this is the name of the machine that you are connected to. Simple, right? SSH-I, right? SSH-I, your key, because you need a key to enter to machine, right? And then this is the machine that you are accessing. This is the address of the machine. Cool. If you run this, you should be able to log in to your system. It will ask you, are you sure you want to continue connecting? And you can say yes. And then if I hit enter, it will connect to your machine, and I am logged into my machine. Okay, so I have logged into my machine. Okay, so now you are not in your terminal of your system. This is the terminal of the machine. See this? Earlier I was in the downloads folder. Now I am in the terminal of my machine. Okay, so now I am on the terminal of my machine. I have successfully accessed my machine. Now don't think that, okay, we have installed Ubuntu onto our machine, so I can just go over there, see the browser interface and everything on the machine. No, you will have to access your machine through the terminal, right? And this is how you will have to use it. We will do everything on that machine through our terminal only. And this is how you will deploy your application. Now we are into this machine now. This is a proper Ubuntu machine. Operating system is running over there. If you leave this terminal, let me tell you one more important thing. If you will leave this terminal for a while like this, without writing anything, without doing anything, this terminal will automatically disconnect, then you will have to connect once again using this SSH command. Okay, so right now we are logged in. Now we will have to start deploying our application. Okay, let me just take down note. So what we did, connected to the machine using SSH, right? Or let me just write the command itself. So basically you have to connect to your machine using this SSH command. Okay, so let me just write this SSH command. So I have logged into my machine. Cool. Now we are into the machine. Now before I get my projects over here, first of all I'll have to make a setup, right? Just like if you take a new laptop, you have to set up your project onto that laptop. What all you do, right? First of all, you need your you need your softwares, right? Similarly, we will also need softwares over here. We will need Node over here or not, right? Because to run any project we will need Node. So then we will install Node. How do you install Node, right? How do you install Node? Let us just install Node.js. Okay, let's just find out, right? So go to Node.js official website. It tells you how to install Node. Okay, so there is a curl command that we are going to use to install Node into our machine. Okay, so this curl command downloads Node onto your machine, right? And then you install, basically this is installing NVM, Node Version Manager. Okay, so I have installed the Node Version Manager. Now this command, basically NVM install command, this command installs the Node version onto your system. So if you do NVM install 22, it will install the version 22 onto your system. But let me tell you, at this point of time, you can face a lot of issues if your version does not match your local version. So I will have to make sure that the version that I am using on my machine is the same version that I am using on my local machine. Okay, in my local machine, when I was running this project, what Node version I was running? So just do node-v. So I was running the version 16.17. Okay, so if I install the version 22, if I install the version 23, if I install the version 20, 20, 16, 14, 12, it can give you issues. I am telling you at this point of time itself, right? Always install a version where your code is working successfully fine. In my local system, my code was working perfectly fine on version 16.17.0. I will install the same version. Okay, so first check in your system. Check in your system which version you are running on. Install the same version. If you will install different version, it might throw some random errors. Then you will keep debugging. Okay, so please install the same version. How do you install? Do nvm install and then the version name. You can give it 16.17.0. Now once you do nvm install, okay, it says nvm command not found. Okay, this nvm command is not found. Why this command is not found? Because see, it is saying close and reopen your terminal because we have installed nvm, right? So it will not work directly. You have to close and open the terminal once again. That is when your command will work, right? Otherwise it will not. So let me just close the terminal. Let me just close the terminal. It will not close like this. I will have to do exit, right? Exit over here. Now I have exited from the machine. I have logged out from the machine. How do you log out? Write the keyword exit. It will log out from the machine. Now let me connect to my machine once again using the same command SSH, right? Now I am logged into the same machine, right? Now I am logged in again to my machine over here. Now I will install nvm install and the version of the node that you want, 16.17.0. Okay, if I install this, it will download the node version and it will install the node version 16.17.0. If you see this, right, that means checksum matched. If you see this now using node version 16.17.0, this means that you have successfully installed your node version. Okay, now if you do node-v over here, just to verify, it will give you the node version name. So now what I have done, I have installed the correct version of node, right? So I have installed the correct version of node. Let me just install Node version, right? You know, Node version 16.17.0. This is 16.17 from point 0 for me. Okay, for you it can be very different, right? It can be whatever you are building your app on. Okay, so, but make sure that these versions are correct. Otherwise, you can get into trouble. That is why I'm telling you once again. Now, once we have installed the Node version, now our system is ready to get the projects and run those projects onto our machine. How will you do? First of all, we will need the code on that machine, right? Right now, there is no DevTinder code on this machine. Okay. Where will I get my code from? I will get my code from GitHub. I will get my code from GitHub. Okay. So I have got this backend project, this front-end project on GitHub. Now I will grab this code from GitHub and clone my repositories in my new system. Okay, so what I will do now is I will just go over here code. Here are different ways you can git clone. Okay, I am using the HTTPS one, right? Copy this and I will just write over here git clone and then the project name DevTinder web, right? So see, now I have got my DevTinder project cloned onto my remote system. This is my server, right? On that server, I have cloned my web project. Similarly, let me also get my backend project, right? Why not? I'll go to HTTPS. I will write the command git clone the project. So I have got my backend and frontend project over here, right? If you will see over here, if you will do ls over here, so ls means list the folders. So I have got my backend as well as frontend project over here using the command ls. So backend project, this is the frontend project. So now I want you to take a break and do till here. Whatever I have done, please follow these steps and complete till here, till you have cloned your project. Okay, so what all steps you have to follow? First of all, you have signed up, you have launched the instance, now you have modified the permissions of your PEM file, then you have done your SSH, right? You have logged into your system, now you have installed Node and you have done git clone. Okay, so you have done git clone, you have got your repositories over there on your system. Do till here, come back, and then we will go forward and start deploying our applications now. Till now, we were just setting up our systems. Now we will actually deploy our applications onto our system. Okay, so let's come back quickly and let's do this. Welcome back, my dear friends. Now what we will do, we have got our two projects over here. We will first of all deploy our front-end project. Okay, we will first of all see, for each project the deployment process can be very different. Right now we have just got our machine, we have installed Node, we have got our projects. The installation step for each project can be very different. So see carefully what I am doing. Right now, first thing, I will install my, I will deploy my front-end project for the first time. Okay, so I will deploy my front-end project. How will you deploy the front-end project? Let me tell you first of all. Okay, so this is the DevTinder web. What you have to do, how do you run this project? How do you run this project? You will say, Akshay, I can run this by npm run dev, right? npm run dev. So this is how you run the project in your local system. This is not how you run the project on the production. How do you run the project on the production? Let me tell you. First of all, you will have to create the build of your project. We are using Vite over here, right? We are using Vite, isn't it? Vite is what, right? Vite is the bundler. Vite is the, Vite basically bundles up your project and runs it, right? That's like Webpack, right? You might have heard of Webpack, you might have heard of Parcel, you might have heard of Vite, right? So similarly, Vite is the bundler, right? That is there. Now what we'll do, if you run npm run dev, so what happens is it runs your project on dev mode. But what you will have to do, you will have to build your project. For that, what is the command? If you'll go to package.json, you will see that when I do npm run dev, so this command is run. There is also a command to build the project. So you have to basically build the project. What is that command? If you do npm build, right, npm build over here, so what will happen? Sorry, npm run build. My bad, npm run build. If you run the build command, it basically, bundles up your project. It basically bundles up your project and creates a dist folder over here. This dist folder will contain all the necessary files, all the packaged files for your front-end project inside this dist folder, and this is the code that we will deploy. See, this src folder is the code that we write. But when we are deploying it onto the production, we will need a compiled code. We will need a built code, right? We will need, what will this do? What Vite will do? Vite will basically, if you'll go over here, Vite will basically, all the code that you have written in your dev, it will basically compile all the code. It will make the code obfuscated. It will make the code compressed. It will make the production ready code. And it will put it into this dist folder. And this is the code we will deploy. Okay, so for that we need a command npm run build. So we will have to build the project. Okay, so how do you build the project? Let us just build the project over here on the remote machine. When I say remote machine, that means on AWS. Okay, on AWS I am just making the build of our front-end project. Okay, so how do you make the build? First of all, see, now what happened? This is what I was telling you. You can get into a lot of troubles like this. So see, automatically the loop was broken. I got disconnected from the server. If you will leave your terminal open for a while, it disconnects from your server for security reasons. Okay, now I can do SSH once again to log into my machine again. Okay, I have got to my machine. If I do ls, I am there on the machine. Here is my front-end project. What I will do, let me go inside that folder first of all, devtinder-web. Okay, so if I go to devtinder-web, now if I will run npm run build, it will build my project, but it will not build right now. Why? It did not build the project. Why? Because it says Vite not found. Vite is not there. That means the library is not there. And here comes the most important part, that we have not done npm install onto our projects. First of all, we need to install the dependencies also, right? See, on our GitHub, we have just plain code. We do not have dependencies. We do not have node modules. We do not have anything. We have cloned this project. So we will have to do a npm install over here, right? When I do npm install, it will install all the dependencies, all the packages, and similarly it will also install Vite into that project, and then we can create a build. Right now, once I have installed, I have done npm install. Now I will do npm run build and it will build my project. Right, see, it is building for production, and now it will build the production. See, it says built in 5 seconds. Okay, in 5.39 seconds we have built our code. And if you will go over here, if you will write ls, you will find there is a dist folder which has been created. Now this dist folder contains all the code that you have to run on the server. Okay, this dist folder contain all the code that you have to run on the server. Okay, this is what I need to tell you. Now, what all things we do? Let me just keep taking down notes. Readme file. Okay, so I did git clone. Then what I did, I went to the project and then I did npm install to install the dependencies. Right, install dependencies using npm install. Npm install, it installs the dependencies, right, install. Okay, this will install the dependencies in the project. Now what we'll do, I will now see, once I have done the git clone, now I am doing the steps for front end. Okay, always remember, now I am doing these steps. Now all these steps, whatever you see, are being done for front end. Okay, so for front end, I will do npm install, then I will do npm what run build. Okay, so now what we will do to deploy our front end project, we will need something known as Nginx, right? Nginx. This is a new software, you can say, right? It is a new software. It's a free and open source software. It can do a lot of things for you. It is kind of like a web server. It gives you a web server, it gives you a load balancer, it gives you a reverse proxy. You can manage a lot of things through Nginx, right? It acts as a web server also, HTTP web server. And for now, we will use this Nginx to host our front-end project. Okay, to host our front-end project. Okay, so we will have to install this Nginx. Okay, so how do you install Nginx? Let me just tell you how do you install Nginx. First of all, do sudo apt update, right? Just to update, right? Your system dependencies, right? Your system packages. So I can do sudo apt update. It will just update my Ubuntu versions and a lot of other things, right? And then we will do sudo apt install Nginx. Okay, so to install Nginx, let's just do that. It will take some time for you to, install this, update the system. Basically, see, I am updating the system. Now let me just do sudo apt install Nginx, right? If I do sudo apt install Nginx, so it says that yes, see, it has now installed Nginx, right? So let me keep writing these commands also for you, right? What I did was I did sudo apt update, right? This is to update the system, sudo apt update, right? And then I can do sudo apt update, basically your application install Nginx, right? So it install Nginx, right? Now we will use this Nginx HTTP server to deploy our application. But before that, I will have to, start Nginx onto my system. Once you have installed it, right? Once you have installed it, see, it says that, okay, it has successfully installed. There was no error over here. Now what I will do, I will write a command sudo system, sys system ctl, okay, system ctl, right? And then start Nginx. So basically, this is a command to start Nginx onto our system. Okay, see, I know this can be confusing. This can be a lot of frustrating steps, but this all is required. And this is the beauty of deploying things manually onto the server. Because, see, when you go to a website, when you go to namastedev.com, you see the application fancy, running, everything working properly. But behind the scenes, a lot of things goes behind the scenes, right? You have a server. Over there is a project, right? Over there you are running Node. On that you are running Nginx. That creates an HTTP server and you have deploying your front-end application onto that. So many things are there that you do to make your project run. And this is what we need to do. This is what I want to teach you. That is why this can be frustrating, but I want all my students to have this knowledge. They should know what is Nginx. They should know how to install Nginx. They should know how to start Nginx, right? Everything you need to do. This is the command to, start Nginx. Okay, this is the command to start Nginx. Now you can say, Akshay, should we remember these commands? I would say, don't remember these commands, right? Don't remember whenever you need, but you should know these steps that, okay, you have to follow these steps. You can get the command, see, install and start Nginx. You write this, you will get these command in one Google search, right? Just do a Google search. You will get to know how to install and start Nginx command, right? Let me just write like this, right? You will get this sudo system ctl start Nginx. See this? You got the command, right? I remember these commands because I keep doing this, right? And if you will do 2 or 3 times, you will remember these commands also. These are very simple commands, right? So this will start your Nginx, right? Once your Nginx is started, There is one more command, sudo systemctl, same command, systemctl, and you can enable nginx, right? You can just enable the nginx, right? Once you enable the nginx, now your nginx is up and running, right? Now we have our nginx set up onto our system. Now what we will do is, after we have enabled, right, after we have enabled, let me write all the commands so that you don't face any problems. Once I have enabled the nginx, now what we will do, all our code in the dist folder, all our code or all the code that we have built, right, the built code of or of our front end project, right, that code we will copy it to the http server repository, that is of nginx. Okay, let me show you how do you do that. What we will do, copy code from dist folder. Dist folder basically contains the build files, right? Build files to, to nginx http server. Where is it located? It is located on a path where, and then where www/html. Now you would say, how do you know that, Akshay? Because I keep doing it, that's why I know it. You have to copy this code from dist folder to where www.html. Let me just show you first of all if this path exists or not, right? If you'll go to system, you can just basically, cd, you can go also /where www.html, and if you'll go over there, see, I have gone to that folder now. If I do ls, this folder contains index nginx debian.html. You have to just, ignore this file. I will replace this whole folder with my dist or the build project files. How do I copy that? Right? So basically what I am trying to do is that dist folder that I have created where there are build files, I have to copy that onto this location in this folder. Okay. So first of all, how do you do that? First of all, let me go to my project, right? If I'll go to cd and let me go to cd and then dev tinder web, right? Dev tinder web. I am now on the front end project. Now I will use a command which is known as scp. This is a copy command. Now I will have to pass a parameter -r. This is for recursiveness. All the files and folders, everything I need to copy. That is why I write -r. What I need to copy now? I need to copy dist folder, all the content of dist folder. If you do dist/*, that means all the files of dist folder. Where do you need to copy? To the path where www.html. If I hit enter, okay, it says permission denied. Yes, it can give you permission denied. So you will have to use sudo, right? I think now it will do the job. If I write sudo scp, now understand this command properly. Okay, sudo scp. Let me just zoom it out so that, let me zoom in a little so that you see it properly. Sudo scp. So sudo to get root level permissions, scp to copy it, -r recursively, dist*, and then where www.html. If I do this, it copied all my files and folder from my dist file to where www.html. If I go to where www.html now, let me just do cd/where www.html, right? If I go over there and I do ls, see this. All these files have been copy pasted over there, right? All these files have been copy pasted over here, right? So now we have basically, copied this file. Now we are ready to see our application live. Done. So what did we do? Let me first of all, write the command also over here. Then I will do a recap and explain you what all I will do, right? I know this can be a little frustrating initially, but it is very easy if you understand it properly, right? If you are learning it for the first time, it might be a little tricky for you, but if you'll do it for once or twice, it will become very easy process for you. You know, so first thing, let me recap it once again. I installed Nginx because it gives you an HTTP server, right? Now I have copy pasted all the code, all the build files to my server, right? Basically the HTML folder. That's it. Simple. That's it. That's all I did. Now, ideally, once you do this, let me go back to our instance and find the public IP. So if you will go to AWS, let me go back to my instances. If I go back to my instances, let me go to the instance. So here you will see a public IPv4 address. So this is the IP where we can access our server, right? Now, if I open this folder, now if I go to this IP, I should see my front-end app running, but it is not running. Why? Because AWS blocks all your ports. So see, when you have a HTTP web server of Nginx, it is on port number 80. It is deployed on port number 80. Remember that. And I will have to expose my port number 80 to make this word, right? So basically you will have to enable port 80 to make this word. How do you enable port 80? Port 80 of your instance, right? On your instance, you have to enable port 80, right? :80 on your instance. How do you enable port? Let me just show it to you. If you go to AWS over here, you have to go to security. In that security, you will find a security group, right? You will find a security group. Go to this security group. In this security group, you will have inbound rules. You will have to add inbound rules to allow access to port number 80. Okay. Edit. Cool. Now over here, add a rule, right? And over here, I will give it a port range 80, right? I will give it a port range 80. And over here, see, I will give it 00000. That means I want to allow access from anywhere on the internet, right? This is what it means, okay? So now I am just giving it access, save rules. Once you save the rules, now you will see that, okay, port 80 is enabled, okay? So by default, your port 22 range is enabled, but over here, I have also enabled port 80. Got it? Port 80 I have enabled. Now, let me now again go to my IP, refresh the page, and do you see something? I have got my front-end app running on my IP address. This is the public IP address. And even if you yourself in the video go to this IP, you will be able to access DevTinder if the server is running. After this video, I will close the instance. I will stop the instance, right? After making this video, I will close the AWS instance, right? Because why to use it? It will just unnecessarily run the instances. It will unnecessarily run the service. But what I can do is, this is the IP address. If you access it right now, you will be able to access this IP from anywhere on the internet. If I open this IP on my mobile phone, if you open this IP on your system, it will run, right? And try it out yourself. Try to go to this IP. If you are able to see DevTinder over here, that means you are seeing the same code. If my server is running, then you will be able to see this. But we have seen DevTinder over here, but it is not working properly. It is not showing me any application. It is looking that it is not working properly. That is because of some reason, because our backend is not working. If you hit this, you will see that, okay, the backend APIs are failing. Why the backend APIs are failing? Because the backend is not deployed yet. So now, but our front-end app is up and running on this IP. This is all you have to do. So once you install Nginx, you copy the code you create a new build, you copy the code from this folder, to var www.html, you enable the port 80, your front end is deployed. Now you can access your front end on that IP. This is the IP address. Got it? Now, if you map this IP to some domain name, maybe like devtinder.com, devtinder.in, devtinder.io, whatever domain name you want, you can purchase that domain name, map it onto this IP, and it will start working on that domain name also. And you can access it from across the internet. So this is how, my dear friends, you deploy your front-end application. This is all in this video. This video was all about setting up AWS and deploying your front-end project. This is a lengthy video. I know a lot of things can be frustrating also in this video, right? Because there are a lot of steps involved while you do manual deployments. But this is the beauty of a software engineer. You should know what you are doing. Try to create an instance, follow this process, and try to do it once again. Try to do it 3 times. If you will do it 3 times, I bet that you will find it very, very easy. I don't even have to remember anything, right? I just know all of it because I have deployed it several times. You deploy a project several times and you will be understood and understand that. Now you can argue that Akshay, we can just use a lot of, there are one-click deployment methods available on the internet. Yes, you can use them, but I don't want my students to use it. You can use it if you want to, but I want my students to have knowledge of everything. You should know what is Nginx. You should know what is AWS. You should know how to manually deploy your application and what it takes to deploy your application. A lot of students that I see, and in a lot of interviews also, many senior folks also don't know about deployment process. They don't know how to run their application on a server. They don't know what is Nginx. They don't know what is HTTP server. They don't know how to enable a port, right? I want you all to know the intricacies of deploying an application to production and how it basically works on a server on an EC2 instance of AWS. And let me tell you, namastedev.com runs on an AWS server, right? And there is a lot of things that takes place behind the scenes. I wanted to show you. That is why I am doing all this. Hope you are enjoying this. This was a mind-boggling session. I know this is getting a little complicated, but if you are enjoying this complicated things, right? Because easy things, if you just want easy things, then you should not be coming to Namaste Node.js, right? Just go for one-click deployments. If you are coming to Namaste Node.js, I want to dive deep into intricacies and complicated things also. I want to make them easy for you. Hope I would have made this easy for you. I have given down notes over here, right? This is the front-end project. Go to the README file of the front-end project. I will push this code onto GitHub, right? Just go to the README file. You will find out all these steps. Follow these steps yourself, right? Follow these steps yourself. Do it once or twice. If you do it twice or thrice, trust me, you will remember all these commands. It's very easy commands, right? That's all you need to do. Now, front end is deployed, front end is running properly. Now we will deploy our backend, and then we will merge the front end and backend so that they work synchronously properly on our server. It will be a very amazing session in the next episode. I am excited for the next episode. Hope you are. But before moving on to next episode, I want to request you one thing. If you are liking this season 3, if you are liking Namaste Node.js so far, if you have learned something out of this Namaste Node so far, if you are excited about things, then please share a word about us on social media. That means a lot to us. We don't have a marketing team. You are my marketing team. And a lot of students who join our courses are through word of mouth or referrals. Just because students like you go and tell to your friends, to your family members about us, about Namaste Dev, that is how I grow. That is how I am able to reach more and more developers. Thank you for all your support. Thank you for all your social media posts. Please, if you can do a social media post on any platform, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, wherever you want to do that, please write, give us a shout out. It will mean a lot to us, and let's keep learning Namaste Node.js. And that's all in this video, my dear friends. We have seen how to deploy front-end project. In the next episode, we will see how to deploy our backend project, but please give us a shout out. That would mean a lot to me. Thank you so much, my dear friends. See you in the next video. Bye bye very soon.